Hey everyone, Pocky here again, and I thought I had a cool video here to show you on Mukla, the monkey, the banana man, and it really played out sort of according to plan, so I thought it would be a perfect video to use as a bit of a guide on how to recognize what your game plan should be very early in the game, and then how to use your resources and make decisions based on that end goal throughout the game. And so hopefully this video and game will help you improve at Battlegrounds. So enjoy. So here we start, we scan through some of the opponent heroes, and we'll come back to that, but we see in our shop a very, very cool start with a Weaver and double Trickster. From here, this is why I was saying this is a great game for this. We immediately recognize what our win condition can be. This is a game with both tokens in, and as we can see, we check both tokens just to make sure. We look on the side. There's a Shudderwalk, there's a Jandis, there's a Hook Tusk in the game. We know what the end game is going to be. There's a Wog Toggle and a Mutinous and a Curator. It's going to be sort of high roll, and we know that our end game board is going to look something like Divine Shield Poison. A lot of end games are like that, but especially this one. And so we have a really nice setup with Mukla in that we can buff up these Tricksters and we can incorporate that Trickster into our end game. Here we decide to use a big banana, not waiting for our buddy, because this will help progress our buddy meter a bit faster, make sure we get it on time. And you're only losing 1-1 by using the big banana early, but you're guaranteeing this fight here. The big bananas, you're only getting that extra 1-1 from the buddy, whereas the small bananas, that 1-1 is doubled, so you're not losing as much value there. And then here we, play a very standard sort of reform curve. It does turn out that the Mutinous has left, which will maybe potentially throw a wrench in our plans here. But for now, we're happy with our start. Progressing our buddy meter nicely. Got it all the way to 83% here going into turn 4. And we find the triple. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. And we go against the ghost. So here's where we make, potentially an adaptation. Although I like this reform curve regardless, because we're able to stack a lot of bananas. And here, since we know that the Mutinous just has a Rockpool Hunter, we're going to get our buddy anyways. We can hold and go for a 4-drop here. So we immediately level. We're going to find a 4-drop, and we're going to be met with a choice between Gold Grubber, Big Fernal, and Peggy. They all have merits, but the reason I take Gold Grubber here is because it's going to have passive scaling. We get our buddy, so we're able to just stack all our stats, and you might say, well, your Trickster's never going to die, so why would you pump the stats so high? We know that this is the card that's going to be in our late game comp, right, with our poison and stuff. And we also know that we kind of want to just level up with our tempo, and so Gold Grubber is going to give us that time, right, and that it's going to scale, whereas a Big Fernal you'd need to buy demons and stuff and scale it. And it seems nice with the Weaver, but it's very unlikely that both of them are going to be on our end game board, and we don't have the economy to buy those demons and cycle them. So the Gold Grubber is a little bit more valuable here. And then we continue to play all of our bananas on the Trickster, because again, we're wanting to invest our resources in our unit that's going to be around for the long term. And in this case, that is the Golden Trickster. Here we are like, okay, it's a little bit too expensive. There's nothing we're going to sell, so we have to buy. We're going to want a hero power. So we take the money. We see a jug here, which is going to be good tempo, good stats. We have 3 tribes. So we're going to grab this jug. We're going to hero power and play our Briny, and have a very sort of straightforward board here. And again, we kind of know what we're going for, right? Like, we want this Gold Grubber, triple potentially. We are looking for stuff to set up into that poison end game while maintaining health as we go. So Arius is a huge pickup. Macaw is a potential pickup here as well to proc those Trickster buffs and sort of guarantee that those goes off, and get a really, really good sort of mid-game here where we get a lot of stats. Unfortunately, Jandis spoils our mid game here, taking a 2.8% win against us, but it's okay. We're still very healthy, and we know we're in a very, very good position going forward. Here we see one Wrathweaver, and it's not really worth it because we're not really wanting to play into this Wrathweaver strategy and make this Wrathweaver really big. Here, however, when we see the triple, it's much more enticing because we can triple into a 5, and there's a lot of hits. We can find something like a Baron, maybe a Brand to get into some of that poison stuff, and instead we're met with Mama Bear, Crocolisk, and Battlemaster. Croc and Mama are great tempo, but again, they don't play into our end game, and so what kind of suits us here is that Battlemaster. It buffs up our Wrathweaver, as well as being a decent target for some stats buffs here, as we again are just wanting to save health to sort of get to the late game. So we fill our board. We're going to play these bananas on that Battlemaster to sort of make it a relevant unit. This does go a little bit against what we were saying, but we still want to remember that there's a balance to how we're utilizing our resources here. And in this case, getting that Battlemaster to be just a tiny bit more relevant is a very low resource investment, but the return on what it's going to do to our fight percentages from here on out is very high, and so we like that play. Here we take a nice fight against Vol'jin, and when the Trickster dies, you see that it's just very, very difficult for us to win because it is so many stats overall. Here we get our triple, and this is a perfect opportunity for us to level to 6. Again, this is sort of progressing us towards that end game of poison. Here we have it presented with a choice of Amalgadon or Myxna, but because we're on 5 and we can hit Reborn, we can hit that Baron and those sorts of things, it's better to just take that guaranteed poison to Myxna, and we do pass up the Amalgadon. Pretty straightforward here. We decide, again, because this Gold Grubber is maybe going to stick around and it's going to scale a little bit more now that we have 3 Goldens on board, right? By virtue of tripling that Wrathweaver and getting our buddy naturally tripled and the Golden Trickster that we've had around for a while. The Gold Grubber is going to scale a bit faster, so grabbing the Peggy is just a slight one-turn buff to get some additional buffs on the Gold Grubber when we hero power, right? There's a little bit of a natural synergy there. Going against Curator here, we make sure to play a bumper. Always got to be aware of the potential for Divine Shields on those Amalgams and Mishmashes and the like. We were rewarded here, but not because there was Divine Shields. But we do end up lethaling the Curator, which is a great hit for us. Here we find that Argus, which again is huge, right? Because it guarantees that Trickster going off. We also see Soul Devourer and Mukla, and they're both very, very good pickups for us. The Soul Devourer, obviously a free buff to the Wrathweaver and the Battlemaster, and then the Mukla being an extra proc to trigger that Trickster. So we're going to pick up both of those. Our Peggy has served its use. We would have loved to be able to hero power with it on the board, but the math doesn't really work out, so we just sell out of it. We've gotten our value. And here we see a very cool one-turn Light Fang buff, right? So a lot of people think of Light Fang in terms of, oh, well, it's going to be long-term scaling, it has to sit on the board. That's not necessarily always the case. Here, we're just playing it similar to how we'd play a Jug. And grab it, we'll get buffs on our Pirate, our Beast, and our Demons. So a nice pickup, and we just lead with it first. Almost put it at the back, but lead with it so that we don't get any of the Trickster buffs onto it, and it can act as a bumper if there's like an Amalgadon or something, which is definitely possible. We say how many 6-drops the Shutterwalk has, so we always got to be aware of that. But we are extremely strong here. Again, take a nice easy win against the Shutterwalk, and we feel very confident in our spot. We sort of say, okay, well, now we have the Taunted Trickster. It buffs the Wrathweaver, which is probably at least here for a little bit. So we're going to grab this Overseer, get a lot of stats, play it. Since Since this Soul Devourer is kind of sticking around as well, we decided to put the buffs there. And again, it's, you know, sort of balancing what we're making relevant units and how we're putting it. If we don't put enough stats onto that Soul Devourer, for example, on this Wog Toggle, we might not be able to trade and get good value there. Here, you might think we're looking at the life thing again, but we're looking for that Gold Grubber triple. It's really, really good scaling, and especially with a bunch of Goldens, it can start to act as like a pseudo poison in that situation. We cycled the Pirate to keep that Murloc on board, just in case we, you know, find a Sefin or something that shows up. We might end up wanting to buy that Murloc. But we get a nice fight here and end up lethaling the Wog Toggle, which is very, very good because then we don't need to compete with their scaling, and it takes off some of the pressure of us finding those poisons. So we grab this Gold Grubber pair, roll, find this Macaw pair, which is very, very cool. Decide to roll again, just looking for something to fill. Don't find anything, so we just press our banana button and wait this turn out. As we get into the fight against the Hook Tusk, we see how strong they are. Again, the heroes that benefit from those tokens, really, really potent. But because we were able to build our board as we were with some, you know, focused high attack units with the Trickster to support and add that health, and some poisons, we are able to beat the Hook Tusk. Here we're gonna roll, and we're looking for, you know, more poisons, Reborn, and exactly that shot. The triple Parrot with the Baron is super, super good for us. And one thing I'll mention is that because it's so big, we're okay having this Trickster taunted and hoping that we just attack first. Now we finally decide to move out of our Soul Devourer to put this Baron in, just to, I mean, we get a lot of buffs here when we play the Baron, health-wise, so we're very happy with that. And again, we see the Shudderwock with a semi-similar board to what they had before, you know, but the Allies are not going to be enough. Our units just have way too much health with the Baron Macaw Trickster combo, and with only one poison, the Shudderwock is not able to get there. So we get a nice 99.9% lethal on Shudderwock, and we move into our sort of final matchup against Vol'jin, who is someone that can put up very, very high attacks, especially with that buddy now, but not too much to worry about. We decide to get our last value out of our buddy, playing some bananas, and we're bananing the Baron again for a similar reason, right? A lot of the other stuff is relatively relevant, but we want to make sure that that Baron has enough stats that it can do something, because a lot of times it will end up getting buffs from that Trickster. So since we're going to have it on board, just getting it buffed up a little bit, so if it gets into one of those sort of late fight trades, we can do something with it. This Reborn is an idea. Maybe we Reborn the Macaw or something. Maybe we triple this Grubber into another Myexna. We pick it up. There's not a ton that we can do to improve our board otherwise, since we did hit poison on that Amalgadon. And we go into this fight, we freeze that Baron again. Just, there's not a lot of things. A triple Baron is one of the things that we could improve our board with. But unfortunately, we'll never get to see that Baron pair because we have a 100% win rate here on the Vol'jin. So yeah, I mean, this is it's a pretty straightforward game, like I said. From the very, very first turn, when we saw the double Trickster with the Wrathweaver, we knew what our game plan was going to be. We looked at the lobby, we said, okay, there's going to be an inclination towards big units and poisons, and we ran into those in the Curator, we ran into those in the Wog Toggle, the Hook Tusk, and Shudderwock, and yeah, we were able to get the win by just making sure that all of our decisions were focused, and we were rewarded with the first place. So I hope this game has been informative and helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the content. Be sure to check out my Twitch, PockyPlays, follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and join our Discord to discuss more plays like this. And as always, Thanks for watching.